stars, and that's who we are. We are voices. There's nothing to fear. Explode in your rear. Feel our voices.
Welcome back to Voice of the Republic. This is Ed.
Man, this is Carl.
Cool. Looking good, Carl.
Oh, thank you. I'm feeling good, Ed.
High five.
It just sounds like something you'd say to your neighbor on a summer, like, looking good there. I'm feeling good. Whoa. You coming to the barbecue this weekend, buddy?
Wouldn't miss it for the world, chum. Then you get around the corner. Asshole.
Asshole. Still has my weed eater.
Oh, but I'd still bang his wife.
Yeah, it's...
Dog shit's on my lawn.
No. Yes. But we're back to talk about Sherlock. Might as well just get right into it because we have plenty to talk about.
Yeah, this is cool. Keeping on with the modern take of the Sherlock and the BBC Sherlock. There's a couple standout characters, and I want to start by talking about Irene Adler, aka the Woman.
Yes.
Where I know that in the original, the original book version, she was an intriguing character. She was particularly intelligent for a woman, and that's kind of the thing that seemed to really catch Sherlock's eye. She wasn't just another person. Now, Conan Doyle did tend to write women with a little more respect, a little more realism than a lot of other authors did, but she was definitely engineered to be a standout to a guy who's a confirmed bachelor, and possibly, like we said earlier, previous show, that his personality is such that it is not warm, or it is so driven towards his pursuits of criminal, solving crimes, etc., that there's no room in his world or his heart for a female. But the take on this particular woman, hamana. 2 words, hamana.
Hamana. And it's really interesting because, to that respect, the first time that they meet, she's actually naked.
Yeah, and sure, it was sexy. I know we like to talk about why people are naked on this show, but wow, when this guy is driven by deduction and clues, and there is a whole build-up of like, well, if Sherlock's coming over, what shall I wear? Let me get my battle armor on and choose carefully, and the answer was to give him absolutely nothing. And it fried his brain because, A, there's nothing to go on. B, he just doesn't encounter naked women at all.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that. I thought it was kind of the only thing I didn't like about her was they kind of did that whole thing where a lesbian or someone from that's a homosexual is just waiting for the right man or woman to come make them straight. Which I know a lot of people were kind of complaining about that because the Eileen Adler character was kind of a lesbian when she first is introduced in the show, but then she falls for Sherlock, and you're like, and some people did have problems with that. Me personally, I thought it was a little silly, but of course that's not my lifestyle or anything, so I don't get offended. I just thought it was whatever. But apparently it did offend people that do care, and which is never, I always think, is kind of a bad thing. But there's always the thing: is are they being overly sensitive to this particular instance, or is it legitimate? So, well,
it sounded like in her personal life, her preference was women, but her professional life of being a dominatrix, it sounded like she's a pretty equal opportunity professional.
Yeah.
They talk about different different people she's encountered over the years as submissives and you know, who are into this kind of thing. But
yeah, you know, and then that also kind of breaks down because, and here's another thing, because I'm not part of that lifestyle and that's not part of my choices or anything, but you know, there are a lot of people that when they are into like the S&M sort of stuff, that they say like, this is my submissive. It's not their boyfriend, it's not their girlfriend, it's not their fuck buddy, you know, it's their submissive, and that's separate from the romantic and sex life, you know, like, because there's a lot of times where S&M and domination and stuff like that never even cross into like an actual sexual thing, you know. It's like it's more of a build up to like that sort of energy, but it never is like consummated, for lack of a better term, you know. So,
yeah, and there's I have a friend who's also he's in a polyamorous marriage. Mm-hmm. And that took some getting used to for him, but that was the deal his wife gave him was, well, you know, if you're going to be with me, this is kind of how it is. I have boyfriends, usually just one at a time, but I'm completely committed and loyal and loving to you. I love you, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you, but this just kind of has to happen on the side. This is just a sex person. Mm-hmm. And so he's on board with that, and you know, it's really bizarre to hang out with a married dude who is hitting on chicks. Like, there's no repercussion. He's just another, like, it's like he's another single guy. But, you know, they go on vacations. They have great times together. They have a house. It's wonderful. They're amazing together. But that's, I mean, some people can separate it.
Yeah, if it works for you, it works for you. So.
Yeah. So the she's the first person also as a character who's an intellectual match for Sherlock, who wasn't Moriarty, and I think they handled it. You know, it made sense that of all the people he could be attracted to, it should be her. Mm-hmm. I could go back into season 3 and start complaining about all the other people who seem to come out of the woodwork with these amazing deduction skills, but I won't.
Yeah.
But I completely I love the struggle also that she put in his brain and his heart over how he should feel about her. So, you know, he generally is intrigued and he respects her. He enjoys her brain, but you know, he knows what she is, but he also just doesn't go for that kind of thing. He doesn't get emotionally involved, but now here's someone he's so fascinated by that he never once answers a text message from her. There's nothing. Like, he doesn't make a move, and when he does, it's to save her life, you know. Mm-hmm.
You know, and like, I'm sorry, I kind of got distracted there for a moment by something happening over here. But to the point that I was getting at also, to continue on that sort of relationship, was maybe since these two people don't have typical relationships, that they are able to put in different containers their different relationships. So you know, you have kind of I have my submissive here, I have my love relations here, and then Sherlock is something completely different, where he's not like a sexually stimulating, but he's an intellectually stimulating person. You know, kind of like what you were saying with your friend, where it's, you know, it's like it's not everything, all of your needs and everything come from one basket. It's, you know, it's a compartmentalized life as far as your relationships go. So.
Yeah. And, you know, I understand the need to take this character who, by today's standards, would be kind of mundane, but to have her be intriguing to someone like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
But we really need to shine a light on a very surprising character development.
Yes.
In Mary Watson.
Yeah. Talk about a surprise as far as characters go. Like, now that I'm talking to you, I don't like it as much because basically, spoilers, we've got plenty of spoilers for season 3. She basically turns out to be a super spy.
My eyes rolled so hard my neighbors complained.
But, you know, like, I kind of liked it. Like, I liked it as a story, but yeah, it's another one of those things where, like, things are escalating in the Sherlock universe where it's not realistic anymore. And I think that's kind of like what I was getting at a couple of episodes ago, where I was like, do you think it's getting too big? Do you think it's like it's getting so wrapped up into itself that like they're trying to top themselves anymore? That it started off just being two guys kind of solving mysteries, and there's like, oh, it's a murder, but it's just kind of a little bit loopy. It's a little strange. There's a little quirk to the like, oh, we can't figure it out sort of stuff. But now it's like super spies and kind of like you said, like these people have super cognitive powers, photographic memories and super deduction skills that are just kind of coming out of the woodwork. I don't know, like I guess you could make the argument of it's kind of like the Batman syndrome, where you have a guy that dresses up in a costume and he starts fighting crime. It's going to attract villains to start dressing up in costumes and start causing crime. So like maybe he's just attracting these people because they're like him, and there's like a common energy between them. I don't know, but like you can't. But of course, it's all fictional. So I mean, like it all comes down to whatever the writers think, what I mean? So I'm talking about like it's a real person and real events or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's some dude writing it. So there's no real law of nature to it. But like maybe that's one argument you could make for it, is that his presence and his popularity and his celebrity has started drawing these people out more. I don't know.
And I think I totally understand that, and when you write characters, you need to be in touch with human beings and human nature to a degree, whether you're for it or against it. People, because you need to create characters that your readers will kind of understand, and you need to think about pathology and what they do, the cause and effect of who they are and what they are in the world they live in. So yeah, in terms of like, I don't know, especially adversaries, it totally makes sense that there should be an adversary that would step up to go against Holmes, or maybe once Moriarty's out of the way, well then there's someone else is going to have to take his place. Maybe a collection of people, maybe it's a group, we don't know. But in terms of Mary Watson, that just seems like it just seems like, there's the argument about like, oh, we needed a strong female character, and instead of making just a good female character, a good character period, who happens to be female, it just seems like they felt like, basically it feels like lazy writing, that they had to make her more. Who's equal to the task of Sherlock Holmes and action-packed former soldier John Watson, super spy, La Femme Nikita, and every other stupid super spy cliche that's been coming out of Hollywood for years and years and years. It's the same thing. It's an ass-kicking woman, and I don't care that she's older. I don't care that she's actually Morgan Freeman's wife. That's adorable. That's cute, and they're really great on stage, and I genuinely liked her character.
Whose wife?
That's Morgan Freeman's wife. Yeah. Sherlock's parents is actually played by Cumberbatch's parents, so it's a big old nepotism clusterfuck.
Did you say Morgan or Martin?
Martin Freeman.
Okay.
Correction.
Because I'm like, wait a second. Like, was I not paying attention? He said Martin both times, or did he say Morgan?
I may have said Morgan Freeman the first time. In my brain, I was looking at the subtitles and it said Martin, but I came out Morgan.
Now I'm glad. Like, I'm glad to pay attention when I'm editing the show, because I'm like, I think he said Morgan.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is I just felt like there's a lot of laziness this season, a lot of brilliance, but a lot of laziness. Again, in terms of Mary Watson and trying to find a way to make her interesting and equal to the task of getting involved with these other two guys, but also like you're talking about earlier with the smaller vignettes. This is not about the women. We should probably cut this out. I'm pulling a mic here, but it seemed like there was a lot of convenient conclusions to things, where before, like, okay, maybe Sherlock solves it. And there's the other thing my friend got on my ass for. She's like, no, I don't think that's true at all because he's brilliant. Leave it alone. I'm like, no, we need to look at this. Every crime that we walked through before is incredibly detailed, and the story and the web that involves like how it's solved. Oh my God, there's so much thought that goes into it, and it's almost like, well, we did enough of that for the first 2 seasons. Let's just leave it alone. Just keep the story moving, because nobody cares about that. Nobody needs to know any more about a really detailed crime or how he solves it in a very intriguing way. Mm-hmm. It's just Mind Palace, green. Hence, it's the door on the right. Solved. Next. Funny things now can happen. I'm like, come on. There's a reason I watch this show. It's not so your bromance.
Yeah.
It's the bromance plus amazing intellectual crime-solving skills.
But and this is again drawing parallels to Doctor Who. I think what it is the people that are most vocal about these shows are the people that get into those aspects of the story the most. It's the people that get onto the Tumblrs and post like the slash fiction and like the Cumberbatch porn, like the lady boner and guy boner stuff, depending on what sort of way you swing, whatever. But like those are the people that are the most outspoken. They're the ones that go to the panels at the conventions and things like that. You and I are not the people that do that. Like and it's kind of like, and I think we can really kind of draw a parallel to everything that we're kind of passionate about. Star Wars, for example, we're not and this is something I've had to accept, but we're not the core audience for Star Wars.
No, we're the better audience for Star Wars.
Yeah. Like we're definitely not. It's kind of like I'm not the core audience for Doctor Who anymore, despite me being in like that coveted demographic of being like the male from like 18 to 35 or whatever that demographic is. It's like I'm square in that, but that doesn't matter because they're not making these shows for me. They're making them for the people that get on Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook and post all these goofy memes and stuff. But now we're getting into something else completely, and we've got to wrap this up. So
yeah, let's put her to bed. All right.
So if you want to, if you want to give us your opinion about these shows, Doctor Who, Sherlock, Star Wars, any of the things that we talk about here, feel free to hit us up on the Republicom. What's the Republicom, you ask? Good question. It's voicemail and feedback from listeners and viewers just like you. So go ahead and dial us up at 407-409-8749 or send us an email at voiceofrep@gmail.com. We can accept text and MP3 files through that. Please, no unlicensed music. If you need any more information or if that went by too fast, visit vorradio.com. Join us on Facebook, link on iTunes, YouTube. Give us thumbs up, give us ratings, subscribe, all that happy stuff that makes us happy and warm inside.
That's right. So we'll be back tomorrow, and more Sherlock. We're going to maybe look forward into season 4 a little bit and continue this discussion about BBC's fantastic show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, till then, hey, may the old force
be with.
That ass you got there.
Oh, that is a view. I tell you, it's definitely something. It's definitely something.